Do it.
Hey, welcome to a year of magical learning. We are at book 50. This is a show where we reflect on what we learned from the book and we talk about them. So today we have a book, Who Moved My Cheese?
Yeah. Have you ever read this before? Are you
I have
are you
not.
familiar
I
with it?
have heard many people reference it before, but I never did.
Same here. This journey, a lot of times I'm just grabbing anything and everything I can find throughout the course of this to keep myself moving through this and learning new stuff. I think one time I went and searched the most popular books of all time or whatever, highest sales or whatever, copies sold, number sold of all time, and Who Moved My Cheese was up there. And I was like, man, I feel like I've heard about this book forever. I was like,
Yeah.
I gotta eventually just check this thing out and see what it's all about, right? So
Hmm.
that was how I ended up finding Who Moved My Cheese. So it's written by the author Spencer Johnson, and it is a motivational business fable. Just a quick description of it that
Okay.
describes the way that one reacts to major changes in work and life. So there's four typical reactions, and those are when you're on the hunt for cheese. There's four reactions, and they're represented by the four characters of the book. There's two mice, one's named Sniff and one's named Scurry. And then there's two little people that are supposed to be like humans named Hem and Haw. They live in this maze. One day they were walking in this maze and they found a bunch of cheese in Cheese Station C. The mice and Hem and Haw, Sniff and Scurry and Hem and Haw decided to stop at Cheese Station C, and they were all happy eating their cheese,
So
having a
does
good time.
Hem and Haw eat cheese?
No, they all eat cheese. Like they all consume cheese and live off of cheese.
Okay.
Yeah. So they're all happy and healthy. They're doing good. They feel like they got a pretty good supply of cheese in Cheese Station C. And then one day the cheese is gone, and I can't remember if it's Hem or Hall comes in and they're like, "Who moved my cheese?" And they get back to their station that day, and immediately the mice, Sniff and Scurry, they see there's no cheese, and they're like, "We're out." They just jet off to the next, around the maze, and into diet off into uncertainty to go find more cheese, right? Because that's what mice do. Hem and Haw, being the humans of this equation, they're a little stuck. They're like, I was pretty comfortable. I was having a good time with this cheese. I felt good here. Like we had plenty of cheese. I knew what we needed to do. We had a good routine, and they were like, maybe it's just gone for a day or something like that. So they end up like waiting around for like a couple days. And then slowly but surely over time, they start to realize there's no more cheese coming in Cheese Station C. The cheese is gone, and they're like, well,
Right.
shit, what do we do now? So I can't remember if it was Hem or Hall. I think it was Hem. Decides one day to Hall's like, I'm not moving. And Hem's like, look, man, we got to do something. So he's like, fine, you go explore the maze, go hunt for cheese. He's like, we're gonna starve if we don't. Hall's like, I don't care, I'm staying here, it'll come back. I don't want to move. So Hem goes out into the maze and he starts to try to explore on his own, to try to figure out if there is any other cheese out there. They don't even know, like they
Right.
So slowly but surely, Hem every day keeps leaving Cheese Station C and exploring and
It sounds like a Dr. Seuss book.
it kind of is. It's like a fable, right? So, and
Cheese Station C.
as Hem goes out into the world, into the maze, into the unknown, he starts to write like little notes to himself about, where he's been and how to remember, like, when he comes back, and then also to leave little notes for Hall in case Hall ever decides he wants to get off his ass and, try to, get out there and realize that there is no cheese left anymore. So eventually Hem ends up finding another cheese station that's a ton of cheese for them to be able to sustain on. And the mice are already there, actually. So Sniff and Scurry have been there for a while and just nibbling around and doing their thing. But Hem left Hall back at Cheese Station C, and he didn't know if he was ever going to come. But he left all these notes all over the maze, and he felt really proud of himself because he embraced the fear and uncertainty, and he just went off into the unknown and ultimately found something. So like the metaphor is supposed to be about how people deal with change. You just sit there and do nothing. Do you immediately just take off like the mice and go look for new cheese and just say it is what it is? Do you get courageous and go out there and try new and explore the world a little bit like Hall? So anyway, it's supposed to be a metaphor of different ways where you deal with change, right? So I will share my screen, and I just basically told you that entire story. It's not a long.
I have to read the book.
Yeah, it's not a long book, but I get why people enjoyed it, I guess, and I get why it was pretty popular because it makes you think a little bit. I guess
This is a Dr. Suey.
Right. It's like, yeah, we love stories, right? We love fables and stories, and I mean, that's how we learn. But my reflection actually for this one isn't about change at all, which is ironic because that was the whole thought of this book. It's about, I wrote down, be a guide, learn and share. So my personal thought around this, what I learned the most from when I was reading through this book, when he set out and, he went out into the maze, the mice, they immediately, for all we know, like all mice have a one-track mind. Like they just, all they focus on is food and that's it. Like, I mean, we're not mice, so we don't know what's going through their brain, but when they found out there was no cheese, they were like, well, shit, this is our mission. This is our purpose. We got to eat. It's like beavers. If there was no water, they would still probably try to dam somewhere. They would still try to do something. That's what they do. So the mice don't even think twice. It's just ingrained into them to say, we're out of food. We need to go find food. Like this is what we do. We don't think about it. We just go. Even if it means they're going to completely kill themselves along the way, they don't care. Like that's just their one-track mind, for all we know. I mean, once again, maybe they're really complex, but it's Hem and Haw that I really, I feel like I learned a lot about because of the humanity that they showed throughout this whole entire story. Specifically, whenever Hem would go out into the maze, he would write down notes, on the walls, like inspirational quotes or reminders of himself of where he's come and things that motivate him to keep going. And then things to be able to guide, if he ever did get out of the maze. And that's what I felt was like the coolest part about this whole entire book. That is so uniquely human for us, like there's no other animal in this world. They like mice, like unless you're physically next to another mouse, like they can't communicate and share any knowledge, like we can, like we don't need to be near anybody that ever listens to these podcasts or anybody that ever reads these reflections or anybody that ever does anything with you and I on any meaningful work project that you and I are trying to do. As long as we can capture that, write it down, share that idea to somebody else, like that can live on forever and can inspire and motivate, help other people grow and learn and share. And really at the end of the day, I feel like that's what it's all about, and that's what makes humans so unique for us. So that's what I learned most from Who Moved My Cheese is to kind of be like him and make sure that we're always learning, exploring, but also sharing and making sure that we're giving back to others and that we're writing these words down or some way for other people to consume it, someday when they go on their own quest and they go on their own journey and they need inspiration or they need guidance or they need somebody there to just help them through it. So that's my reflection overall. So it's be a guide, learn and share. What are your thoughts?
So first thing I want to ask, what do you think is the difference between the mice and the little people?
I think that's what I was trying to explain is I think the big difference is I think that mice have emotions, probably feelings. I think that mice, I don't know, they may have consciousness, like they may have other ideas in their head. I think that they're elephants, if you will, of a mice. I don't think they have a writer. I don't think they have anybody that can stop and think and share. They just instinctively go, right? Do what they're supposed to do. I don't think they have a writer,
Right.
and then we do, we have the ability to take in what's happened to us and then go, well, what do I want to do with that? Hem decided to stay and say, screw it, I'm not doing this. Or sorry, Hem decided to go and Haw decided to say, I'm not moving. Fine. Like I'm gonna,
Right.
But yeah, I think that's probably the biggest difference. I don't think mice have a writer on top of their elephant.
Right. So for me, it's, one of the big thing that I got from you talking about your reflection is, if I ask you what's the difference between a rat brain or a mice brain and a human brain, what would you say that is?
I think it's the writer. I think it's the
Size,
rationality.
right? The size,
right.
Right? So let's talk about the size a little bit. How big is a human brain compared to a rat brain? Is it 10x?
Oh, I don't know. I mean,
is it 100x?
No, but I don't even know that size really matters though. Because I mean,
well, I'm asking this kind of question. Like, typically speaking, what is the scale? Is like 10x. The human brain has 10x. Is it 100x?
I think the human brain probably weighs 8 pounds. I think is what I've heard is like the average human brain.
Talking about knowledge. Let's talk about knowledge.
Right.
How much knowledge does a rat brain can take?
I have no idea.
Can store versus a human brain. Just take a ballpark guess. Because I have a follow-up to what I'm asking.
Let's just say the capacity of knowledge that is able to be packed into our brain is 1,000x more than a mouse.
What would you say if I say it is infinity? There's no limit to the capacity of a human knowledge.
Was there a limit to the capacity of a mouse's knowledge?
Yes.
How do you know?
Because the mouse can only learn about the information that's passed on to him and what he can hold in his head. For a human, we take it into our head and we store it in writings.
That's true.
Writings of the 7 billion people and all of our generation throughout history. Can you count how many that is? And to me, that's a big difference between a human and animals. The animal may have some aspect of human. We don't know for sure whether or not they have conscious. They could, but one thing for sure is they don't store the knowledge in a place where they can access it again. Writing is, to me, it's uniquely human, and that gives us not only 10x the brain, but an infinity x. I mean,
Right.
there's no limit. We can take as much as we want, right? Because we have it stored. We have
Yeah.
it written down. And to
Right.
me, writing is the extension of our storage.
I
Because
agree.
whatever you have in your brain, it's like your accessible memory versus the permanent storage, which is your writing. Anyone can go and open a book. Anyone can open a YouTube video and learn how to do certain things, because they can take that knowledge back into the brains and work on it and put them back out to another storage and bring it back into different type of knowledge.
Absolutely.
The storage of human capacity is huge compared to other animals. And that's the reason why we have been the apex for so long and continue to be an apex until some animal can start to write like us. They're not going to even come close.
Yeah,
So
no, I agree.
From what you're saying, that's what I'm thinking of when you're talking about because him writing a lot of these things, this is the knowledge he has, right? Not only that he can store it, but also can share it with another human being. Right.
So I think this goes two ways. I think you're dead on. Number exactly dead on what I was trying to get across in that message, but I think it goes two ways. The quest for new knowledge, like when him set out, like he felt alive. Like, this is what I'm supposed to do. Like, this is fun. Like, this is engaging. This is great. And then I can write it down, and share it with Hall if he ever did leave. And he did. He did eventually leave, and he followed these notes. And we can help, like you said, we can, instead of it just being fun and inspiring, it's like you're climbing Mount
Right,
Everest,
because
right?
Haw is part of the collective. So without Haw, the storage of memory will be one minus of whatever that Haw knowledge is, right?
Right.
So in the selfish way, you want Haw to be able to take directions and be guided by your knowledge. Another thing that comes to my mind is you say that the rat have this one-track mind. I'm asking us as well, would human have the same thing? It's just that our one-track mind is to learn and a quest for knowledge, I guess, in a way. Because if you say I feel alive when Hem felt alive when he started to explore and write down things. So to me, it felt like when you are alive and when you are really enjoying what you do, that's what your one-track mind is built to do. And so when you do that, like we say, a beaver must dam, right? A writer must write, a painter must paint, a rat must chase for food or whatever. That's a one-track mind for that animal.
Sure.
Our one-track mind could be a quest for knowledge and to share that ideas and to store them, to accumulate this massive storage of knowledge.
Absolutely. I mean, I would call that like a purpose, I guess. So maybe that is the purpose of humanity. I don't know. I mean, we've talked about this in the past of being humans are composers, right? I mean, we take what we learn and mash it up with a bunch of other stuff and turn it into
humans
something
are
completely
makers,
different.
Right? They are builders. And in order for them to build, they need knowledge. And when they build and when they assemble the knowledge, it makes him or her felt alive. And so just like a beaver, if you let him dam, he feels happy, he feels joy. So I think we are genetically made to be composer, to be the explorer of knowledge, to be the assimilations of knowledge of whatever we can get our hands on. And I think that's could be the one-track mind of humanity.
That could be. I don't think that's a bad thought at all. I mean, I know eventually you get to the cheese, right? But like, I don't think I can guarantee you that Hem had a way better journey getting to the cheese than the mice did, because they didn't see. It's like the alchemist, with the whole oil, carry the oil in the spoon and see the castle. Hem was enjoying the whole maze. He was out there looking around each corner, exploring spaces, writing notes. He was, sharing thoughts with himself and capturing stuff. Like these mice just went in as fast as they could from point A to point B. They definitely kept the oil, you know what I mean? Like, and were able to bring that back completely full. But I don't know that they saw the castle, you know, like I don't know that they saw everything along the way. And
Right, but regardless of whether they
that,
saw the castle or not, that's not their
right. They don't care.
the genetic makeup, so they don't care about the castle. Just want the cheese, and that makes them happy. And for us, not only that we need to find the cheese, we need to find knowledge along the way. So if you were just given the cheese, like given the cheese, I doubt that your life would be happy and fulfilled. You don't enjoy it, even though you have the cheese, you know, the cheddar or the bacon or whatever you call it.
Right.
It's not the same.
Like a hotel heiress.
I'm a billionaire because I just have a vault of all these cheddar, right, whatever you call it, versus I made it. Right. That's two different things. A self-made billionaire versus inherited a billionaire. It's two different guys, two different person.
Not only that, you can help share and help other people along the way. You know,
the other one is, you know, probably gonna be overdosed on some kind of drug because life is so boring.
Right. I mean, because it's not about the cheddar.
For him or her to go explore and get some kind of thrill in his life.
Right. Yeah, it's about the journey. It's about the quest for new knowledge.
Because we're genetically made for that. Yeah. It's not about the destination. And it has nothing to do with whether this is better or that better. It's whatever you made to do. Right. If you're made to do a certain thing and you don't get to do it, then you have a sad life. I mean, people say, well, this person or that person is, you know, work too hard or whatever. Maybe they enjoy the work, the hard work.
Right.
Or this person is too easy. Right. Well, maybe they enjoy the easiness. They enjoy the, you know, say, well, this person is lack ambitions. Well, who's to say that that's what he wanted?
Right.
Right. Because for me, it's like, I don't want spontaneous events. I just want predictable one. And for somebody else, it's different. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Right. Agreed. Interesting. So this is it's a fun little short story, you know, fun ways to interpret it and, you know, different ways to reflect on it. But I think you make some really good points about maybe that is our purpose. Who knows, you know, and if that is, I'd be cool with that because it is more fun when you're learning and exploring and sharing with other people. Like, I mean, that's what this whole journey is, you know.
Right. You got to enjoy
what we're doing right now.
I guess that would be the kind of like the moral story is enjoy. Do what you want to do, but enjoy it.
And share.
If that makes you happy, and if you enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, don't share.
Fair enough. Good point. But the question for others following along with this, if you guys want to reflect on this, is it's how are you going to share your knowledge to help guide others? You know, if you do enjoy it. Yeah. But thanks for joining, everyone. We'll see you all tomorrow. I can't believe we're on book 50. That's crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah,
we'll do 51 tomorrow.
Yeah, we're getting somewhere. All right. Have a good one.
You too. Bye.